The dates for the Delhi polls have been declared. Delhi will vote for its 70 assembly constituencies on the 5th of February, Wednesday, and counting will be on the 8th of February, Saturday. The last time, in 2020, 5 years ago, the Aam Aadmi Party swept Delhi. It had 62 out of 70 MLAs. The previous time, it was an even bigger sweep. In 2015, AAP had 67 out of 70. It has been an AAP dominance, no doubt about it, in the last two election cycles. But over the last 5 years, a lot of water has flown down the Yamuna since the last election. Mr. Kejriwal and some of his closest associates, including Mr. Sisodia, a lot of them are accused in the Liquorgate scam. They had to spend jail time as part of the probe. Nothing has been proven yet. The trial has not begun. They're out on bail. And in fact, Mr. Kejriwal has made this election, the 2024 election in Delhi, as a referendum on his rule. He has made a vow that he is not going to occupy the Chief Minister's chair until he gets a renewed mandate from the people of Delhi. On the other hand, the BJP, the Congress, both of these parties were routed 5 years ago and 10 years ago. Can they make a difference this time around? There are problems within the state units of both the BJP and the Congress. They were no match for the Aam Aadmi Party, either in 15 or in 20. Can they hope for a better performance in 2024? Ultimately, it's going to boil down to a couple of factors. One, is corruption an issue? And is corruption going to hurt the Aam Aadmi Party? Two, and let's be very clear about this, if you wanted any more evidence of how Revdis or SOPs work, and all parties are complicit in this, BJP is complicit in this, Congress is complicit in this, Aam Aadmi Party certainly is, about giving Revdis or freebies to voters. AAP has already said they will give 2,100 rupees to women. The Congress has said that they are going to up that to 2,500 to women. The BJP is also expected to launch a similar scheme given how successful Ladki Bayan was in Maharashtra. So the question is, it boils down to these two poles, the corruption perception battle and who will the poor vote for? Who will ultimately win Delhi ka dangal?
पाँच फरवरी को दिल्ली के लोग चुनेंगे कि दिल्ली के बच्चों के लिए अच्छी शिक्षा कैसे बने, अच्छे स्कूल कैसे बने, दिल्ली के लोगों के लिए अच्छे स्वास्थ्य की सुविधाएं कैसे बने।
मेरे क्षेत्र के लोगों को लेके जाऊंगा जिन्होंने 3 बार अरविंद केजरीवाल को जिताया है, और उनका राइट बनता है कि वो कैसा उन्होंने महल बनाया उनके टैक्स के पैसे से, उनको देखने का तो उनका हमारे दिल्ली वासियों को राइट बनता है।
कि दिल्ली को की नब्ज हम जानते हैं। दिल्ली में अब दिल्ली वाले भी त्रस्त हैं कि इस तरह के नेतृत्व नहीं चाहिए, इस तरह की सरकार नहीं चाहिए जो पिछले 10 साल से सिर्फ और सिर्फ ब्लेम गेम करती है।
जो भी क्लेम्स एंड ऑब्जेक्शंस आते हैं वो हाथ की हाथ हर पॉलिटिकल पार्टी के साथ में शेयर किए जाते हैं, वेबसाइट पे ड्राफ्ट डाला जाता है, पोलिंग स्टेशन के रेशनलाइजेशन में कंसल्ट किया जाता है। कोई डिलीशन हो ही नहीं सकता जब तक उसके पीछे फॉर्म 7 ना हो।
Okay, so before we open this up to our panelists, I want to bring you up to speed on the magic wall with a couple of X factors. Remember, the dominance of the Aam Aadmi Party in the last two election cycles, in 2015 and in 2020, has been built on a couple of vote banks, as it were. One, of course, is the poor. Large sections of what is called in Delhi as the JJ cluster or the Juggi Jopadi vote has gone en masse to the Aam Aadmi Party. Let's take a look at how that has played out for the AAP in the 2020 Vidhan Sabha election. This is what it did. 62 out of 70 MLAs were won by the Aam Aadmi Party in the Juggi Jopadi slum cluster votes, where the BJP has been really trying to make inroads with regularization of slums, building pakka homes for certain people. A lot of them happen to be, a lot of those constituencies are on the eastern part of Delhi. So you have places like Simapuri, you have places like Shahadra, where again there's a lot of this poorer voters. There's Timmarpur, there is of course Chandni Chowk right in the heart of Old Delhi. And even in some of the more posh parts of Delhi, places like Jangpura, from where Mr. Sisodia is contesting, he's changed his constituency. There is a substantial number of what is called JJ cluster voters. In the neighboring constituency of Kalkaji, from where the current Chief Minister Atishi is fighting again, significant portions of JJ cluster voters. 18 seats out of 70 where the JJ cluster vote is significant. All of it was won by the Aam Aadmi Party in 2020. Look at the vote share difference. There's almost a 20% vote share difference between the BJP and the Aam Aadmi Party. This used to be a Congress vote bank, by the way. The poorer sections of society used to be a Congress vote bank. Congress was reduced to just 5% vote share in this JJ cluster, as it were, here in Delhi. Then, of course, many years ago, in the western part of Delhi, in the western part of the city, the Punjabi refugees who came, many of whom came after partition, that used to be a BJP-dominant area. The Punjabi refugees and, of course, the trader class who are in the western part of Delhi. I just want to bring you that statistic again. This used to be a BJP-dominant constituency. There, too, the Aam Aadmi Party has made substantial inroads. If you look at all the way from Karol Bagh in the central part of Delhi, if you go further west to Patel Nagar, to Rajinder Nagar, Moti Nagar, Rajouri Garden, all of these seats, Hari Nagar, all of these seats where there are substantial Punjabi voters, voters who have come here 50, 60, 75 years ago when partition happened, settled in these refugee colonies, and then, of course, went on to become the trader class, millionaires, and so on. That which used to be the middle class vote, which used to be a BJP vote back in the 90s and the 2000s, even when Sheila Dikshit was ruling in Delhi, this part of Delhi, this western part of Delhi, was solidly with the BJP. They seem to have lost that in the last two election cycles. It is basically the Aam Aadmi Party that has won influence in the western part of Delhi. So basically, if either BJP or Congress is hoping to unseat the Aam Aadmi Party, they have to win these two substantial voting blocks. One, which is the slum voters, the poorer voters, who are, of course, you could say that it is for these voters that the so-called Revdis and the 2100 for women, etc., is being targeted. So yes, that is an important talking point. That is an important poll determinant. And then, of course, you have the middle-class voters, particularly the ones in West Delhi, for whom the BJP is hoping this time around corruption will be an issue. And, of course, the Aam Aadmi Party was born out of a corruption movement, an India Against Corruption movement. So they are hoping that all of these stories, Liquor Gate, Sheesh Mahal, etc., will dent the anti-corruption crusader image that Mr. Kejriwal has had. Which of these two narratives will find resonance with the people of Delhi? We'll know on the 5th of February. Let me now open this up to our guests. R.P. Singh, National Spokesperson of the BJP, is joining us. Dr. Shama Mohammed, National Spokesperson of the Congress Party. Piyush Joshi, political analyst. Smita Prakash, editor of ANI, is also joining us. Let me start with Mr. Singh. R.P. Singh Saab, I just explained on the magic wall, both in East Delhi, which is on the Jamna Par side, as well as on West Delhi, from where you come from, there seems to be a problem for the BJP. The Aam Aadmi Party has made substantial inroads, both in the slum clusters, in the poorer voters, and also in the middle-class voters. Why do you believe that in 2025, they will vote for you in a way that they did not in 2020 or in 2015?
Well, gone are the times when people of Delhi got swayed by the so-called false promises of Mr. Kejriwal, or the so-called that time magic wand he showed that time. But that's not going to happen now. Fact is that Delhiites could see through two things. One is the corruption, and second is the whatever promises were made, none has been fulfilled. The corruption part, we all know the liquor scam, the Sheesh Mahal. I mean, I can get into details of that, but that is very well known. But as per the promises made, is the pollution there or in Delhi or not? Is air clean? No. Is water clean and healthy? No. Are schools good? No. I'll just elaborate that because this is important. There's 1.5 lakh children who are dropped out after 9th and 11th every year to improve the result of 10th and 12th. And they have accepted this one of the ads. I was just trying to find out that ad, probably if I can, and I'll show you that ad also.
But Singh Saab, Aam Aadmi Party claims that they are the model of delivery. They are the model of governance. Mohalla clinic ho, sarkari school ho. They are saying they have delivered. That's why people of Delhi are voting for them.
Yeah. Mohalla clinic 65,000 tests नकली हुए पिछले साल और जो जिस पे करप्शन एंटी करप्शन ब्यूरो ऑलरेडी जांच कर रहा है they are already investigating those 65,000 tests which never happened and money was siphoned off and 3 children died because of wrong medicine prescribed by the Mohalla clinic. 6 were hospitalized. Coming to schools, I was telling you about the schools. 1.5 children are dropped out every year and then their future is in dark because they want to improve their result of 10th and 12th. So this is the state of school, Mohalla clinic, air, water. Oh, coming to the electricity because that's the key thing. On electricity part also, that they have been charging. I mean, they have been charging 45% levy taxes on the basic bill, and then it's because of our hard work that levy has come down by some 20%, and we are assuring that we'll ensure that levy is not there when we come to the power, and then.
So let me go to Dr. Shama Mohammed. Dr. Shama Mohammed, this is a member of the India Alliance. You had an alliance just 6 months ago when the Lok Sabha election happened. Of course, the BJP still swept 7-0. Point is, there is no alliance now. There was no alliance in Haryana. There is no alliance now in Delhi. Please speak to the voters of Delhi and tell us how is it that within 6 months, you've gone from being alliance partners, friends, to now sworn enemies. Kejriwal, in fact, was asked about the Congress party the other day and he said, who takes the Congress party seriously? These are his words, not mine.
Zaka, let me make one thing very clear. We were very, very, very clear from the beginning that when India Alliance happened, in states, the states PCC decides. That's why Punjab, there was never an alliance. In West Bengal, there is no alliance. So this is because of the state. Kerala, no alliance. So you have to understand state to state, it differs. So here in Delhi, they were very clear they do not want an alliance. And we also are very clear about it. Now, let me make you understand why. Let us understand that.
Can I ask you one clarification? The decision not to have an alliance in Delhi was taken by AAP or taken by you? Because my understanding is AAP took that call.
No, I'm sorry to say that. It is our people who wanted no alliance because we were very clear from the beginning. I know the PCC here, they did not want an alliance. They wanted to fight it on their own. Now, let's understand AAP. Let's understand Arvind Kejriwal. Now, Arvind Kejriwal is so full of himself that when he was put behind bars, he refused to resign. And I'm going to talk today as a person living in Delhi. In Jharkhand, the same thing happened and Hemant Soren resigned because he thought about the people of Jharkhand. They came first. For Arvind Kejriwal, it was me, myself and I. And the people of Delhi went through hell those months when the rains happened. I myself suffered where the rain in South Delhi, I couldn't get out of my car. I could have been electrocuted because the man refused to resign and give the baton to somebody else in his own party. And let's understand, garbage is always strewn all over. In South Delhi, if you come opposite the Gagi College, there's a garbage area. Every time I go for a walk, there's garbage all over. For the last 1 week, the garbage has been cleaned because elections are close by. Water bill, higher than 1,500 rupees. When I used to live in Pune, much less, below 1,000 rupees. Electricity bill, very high. So I don't know what is he talking about. And infrastructure has completely collapsed. There are no good roads in Delhi. And let's understand a very important thing. When the Congress party was in power for 15 years, we also had a lieutenant governor. There was no tutu meme. The Delhi people are fed up of the tutu meme between the Bharatiya Janata Party and AAP. And also very important thing, when she
I also want to,
I just want to tell one last
while I
point.
said at the top, I believe the two dominant issues, the two dominant narratives, and frankly, this election is going to be decided between these two issues, corruption on the one hand and whether that is denting the Aam Aadmi Party. On the other hand, of course, the freebies and the rabies to the poor. So ultimately, this election is going to be decided by these two issues. Before I go to Smita, I want to show another fascinating thing on the magic wall, which to my mind, they say the Indian voter is very, very smart. And Delhi voters are extremely smart, and they're showing that election after election. For the last 10 years, though Aam Aadmi Party has had a complete dominance, in 2020, 62 out of 70, in 2015, 67 out of 70. But if you look at the Lok Sabha elections, and we've got a couple of the Lok Sabha elections, of course, BJP has swept 7-0 all last three elections. The same voters, what is fascinating to me is the same voters, look at the vote share. BJP in the 2019 Lok Sabha election had 56% vote share. The Aam Aadmi Party had mere 18% vote share. So there is a good 25 to 30% voters, the same voters. It's not like new voters are voting in the Vidhan Sabha and different voters are voting in the Lok Sabha. The same voters. There is anywhere between a quarter to a third of the voters who are happy to vote for the BJP in Lok Sabha election and then happy to vote for the Aam Aadmi Party in the Vidhan Sabha election. So 2019, this is what happened. 2014 Lok Sabha. Again, very similar situation. 46% of the vote share went to BJP and 33% went to the Aam Aadmi Party. So clearly something is happening in Delhi where the same set of voters who are happy to vote for BJP in Lok Sabha are happy to vote for Aam Aadmi Party in the Vidhan Sabha. So Smita Prakash, explain that. Is that the Delhi voter being mature and deciding, okay, we like split government, even though these two parties can't see eye to eye, they're always bickering, LG versus Chief Minister, went to court, still not resolved. What explains this dichotomy? Because to me, this is fascinating. It's the same set of voters voting differently within 6 months, by the way, that too.
Interesting, no, Zaka, but I don't think this is unique to Delhi. It's there in many other places also. I mean, Orissa, just top of my head, I can think of Orissa doing the same thing, voting for Naveen Patnaik on one side and Modi from the other side. No, it's something that happens. But yes, Delhi has done that. If I was to just say, when we were talking about the JJ cluster, which you pointed out on the Magic Wall and the East Delhi, for them, a vote bank which was absolutely decided for several elections. Now it is a fight for survival, even in those areas. There's an anti-incumbency whether the Aam Aadmi Party agrees to it or not. So they have one side, they have anti-incumbency, and on the other side, for the first time in 10 years, they're having two adversaries that they're fighting. The Aam Aadmi Party got their 70 candidates announced much before the Congress and the BJP. But what I find interesting in this election is the Congress showing the kind of vigor that it hasn't shown in the past decade. And that's why the Aam Aadmi Party today has two adversaries. The BJP, of course, it's giving the impression of being in a dominant position, even if they are shaky, because, that's the way the BJP is. They are actually relishing this fight against Arvind Kejriwal. They're not deterred by the Aam Aadmi Party's slogan of "Fir layenge Kejriwal," not even the Congress.
No, but Smita, on what basis are you saying that this is going to be a much more competitive election? I look at the BJP and I look at the Congress in Delhi. I don't even see who their faces are. Who is the face who is going to take on Arvind Kejriwal? Frankly, I don't even know the names of who the state presidents are.
Yeah. So the BJP is giving the impression, is what I said. The BJP had put up CM candidates and they got a bloodied nose in the earlier elections.
Yep.
So somebody has decided that, okay, this time we're not going to do it like we didn't do in Madhya Pradesh, like we didn't do in other states. We're not going to put a face to the election. It seems to have worked for them in many states. They're trying that in Delhi. As far as the Congress is concerned, it's kind of clear that it's going to be Sandeep Dikshit who's going to be their face, because it's become like a mooch ki ladai for him. It's a very personal battle. He's been single-handedly speaking out against the Aam Aadmi Party for a long time, even though they were in alliance and it was muted, by right now Shama is going hammer and tongs against Aam Aadmi Party. But that's only in this monsoon that she has faced this crisis of garbage and rains and things like that. But the Delhiites have been facing this for a long time. It's not now that garbage hasn't been lifted, that the traffic has been terrible, that the pollution. I don't know how many shows you must have done. If you find an average, I'm sure that you must have done at least 150 shows in the past 5 years
Look,
on pollution.
I don't want to put my guests in a spot of bother, but frankly, if the Congress were to do well, I don't know who in the Congress will take credit. Will Ajay Bakan take credit? Will Sandeep Dixit take credit? I don't know.
On what basis? Because,
tell
this is a team, the Delhi unit of the Congress really, they were put in charge of fighting elections in other places and they lost in those states. The same people that you're mentioning, I don't want to take the names, but the same Delhi unit was fighting, was the brain behind Rajasthan. And what did they do there? They delivered a dud out there. And
Okay.
they've been made in charge of Delhi election now. But I must point out that it is Sandeep Dixit who continued single-handedly leading the charge despite her. And now you're 3 weeks away from the elections. Have you seen anybody from the Gandhi family campaign in the same way that Modi has come out and campaigned for the
Okay,
BJP? No, you
Shama, one
haven't.
quick response before I go to Piyush Joshi. I think Pallavi Ghosh was making that point earlier in the program, earlier on in the day when we had the dates announcement coverage, that yesterday the first of your guarantees was announced and none of your senior leaders were there. Rahul Gandhi was not there, Ms. Priyanka Gandhi was not there, even Mr. Kharge was not there. It was left to DK Shivkumar. I don't know what his relevance or resonance is to a Delhi voter to be the face to inaugurate the first guarantee.
I'll tell you that. See, first and foremost to Smita ji, that it is the Congress party who's going to take the victory. It is not individuals. It's the Congress party fighting as one unit out here. Number two, why was DK Shivkumar there? Because the same guarantee was given there. And we want to show that, the guarantee has been, when we talk about a guarantee, we do it. Unlike Aam Aadmi Party, they've spoken about 1,000 rupees in Punjab for the last 3 years. None of the women have got it. So that's why DK Shivkumar. And we didn't want anybody else at this point because the Deputy Chief Minister was there. Rahul Gandhi will be campaigning in next week. Priyanka Gandhi will be campaigning next week. Mr. Kharge, the President, will be campaigning next week. We are going as one strong unit to take on Arvind Kejriwal, who, when we were in power in Punjab, the pollution used to, farm fires coming from Punjab. Now when he's in power there are no farm fires coming from Punjab. It is Haryana, it is UP, it is other states.
Okay.
So, you have to prove.
Let me go to Piyush Joshi. The difference in this election, I feel, and I'm one to put it out there. Corruption is a great thing to talk about in television studios, newspaper headlines. Ultimately, does the Indian voter vote on the issue of corruption? I'm not convinced. I've not seen, even despite what we saw in India against corruption and the movement, the birth of the Aam Aadmi Party from the IAC movement and so on and so forth. But one thing I think is distinctly different, Mr. Joshi, is the halo around Mr. Kejriwal. The image of Mr. Kejriwal 10 years ago when he said, I have a Reynolds ballpoint pen, I'm a muffler man, I drive a Wagoner, I don't want the spoils of office. To today, all of this Sheesh Mahal stuff, the liquor gate stuff, that halo is gone. People are looking at it and saying, you started off by saying you're an anti-corruption crusader, ab to kya hua? You're on mute. Mr. Joshi, you're on mute.
Similar points have been raised, Zaka, in past many elections, including the MCD elections, including the 2020 elections. Barring 2015, which was, the first full government of Aam Aadmi Party, these points have been raised in all the elections. The people of Delhi actually...
No, the issue of corruption you're saying has been raised? The issue of corruption against Mr. Kejriwal?
Your question that the halo of Kejriwal is gone, that is what you...
No, because of the issue of corruption.
Right, because of the issue of corruption.
That was not raised 5 years ago.
No, that was raised in 2020 as well. That now he's riding in an Innova. He has gone for a CM's office and CM's camp's office and CM's bungalow and all that, and he is not living in in his own humble abode of Kaushambi. So all those issues were raised. People vote on few things. And when it comes to the state of Delhi, whether the life of an average Delhiite is easier because Aam Aadmi Party is in government, or whether the life of an average Delhiite is worse because Aam Aadmi Party and Kejriwal is in governance. Whether the schools have actually improved or whether the schools have not improved, whether the healthcare services have improved or whether they have not improved. So this is what the people of Delhi are going to vote upon, whether new pipelines are there or not, whether they are getting 700 odd liters water, without any charges or not, whether they are getting 150 to 200 units of electricity or not. These are the
No,
core
but
issues
tell
on which the
me,
voter of
Mr.
Delhi is going
Joshi,
to
this is
vote.
also the first election after COVID in Delhi, and we saw what happened in COVID. There was a serious crisis in Delhi. I know neighbors, who had to run from pillar to post to get oxygen cylinders, and there was bickering between AAP and BJP over who is responsible for getting oxygen cylinders.
Yeah, that
How
is
can
because
how can you contrast that with what you call the health model of Aam Aadmi Party in Delhi?
Zaka, I have been a COVID physician. I am a practicing physician. I live in the state of Madhya Pradesh. The COVID, particularly the second wave of COVID in 2021, was actually far worse than the first wave, and the scenes were likewise everywhere. You go anywhere across the country, our resources have crumbled. Have we learned anything from that? As far as the Delhi government is concerned, they are learning a little bit. They are trying to increase a few beds. They are trying to increase 15,000 odd beds in various hospitals. But whether we have learned our lessons elsewhere or not, that still remains to be answered. So whether the issue of Sheesh Mahal will dent the image of Kejriwal or not, maybe, may not be. But whether life of an average Delhiite is easier because of
So
Kejriwal
let
or
me
worse
ask
because
RP
of
Singh,
Kejriwal, or
corruption
tougher
does
because
not
of
matter.
Kejriwal will
These things have
decide.
been talked about in the
It
past.
matters.
Ultimately,
It matters.
okay.
But you
Ultimately,
have to prove it.
no, one
But
second.
you have
Yeah,
to prove it.
fair enough. On Liquorgate, I am with Mr. Joshi on this. Nothing has been proven in a court of law. Supreme Court did not have particularly nice things to say about ED and its prosecution in this case so far. And I certainly don't think, at least in the court of public perception, Mr. Kejriwal has been hanged up for the Liquorgate. Sheesh Mahal is a different thing. I don't want to get into that. But the point is, I don't think voters are voting on that. Voters are voting on, as Mr. Joshi said, has my life become better? Are my kids getting better education? Is my health care better? Am I getting 1,000 rupees per month in my bank account? Ultimately, bread and butter issues matter. And Mr. Joshi's claim, the Aam Aadmi Party's claim is that on that they have delivered.
Well, Zaka, let's start with the 1,000 rupees which you mentioned, the last point. Has anyone received any penny till date? I mean, it was decided in March. December, they could have paid 9,000 rupees by December. Not a penny. And then they have said, oh, we'll improve. As if they have paid 1,000. Now they are going to improve from 1,000 to 2,100 rupees. People are not so fool in Delhi. I mean, you can't treat people like that, and you can't take people for right. One. Secondly, as I said, is air quality better? Is Wi-Fi free? I mean, remember that Wi-Fi free was a big carrot which was given. And also, I told you about water. I give a challenge. Let Mr. Kejriwal drink water from his own constituency, his own Jaggi cluster constituency. And for a week, I'll get him treated in one of the best hospitals in Delhi, Gangaram, free of cost. But water quality is bad. The schools, as I said, are in tatters. I mean, leave aside what I said earlier. Go by Justice Manmohan, who's the Chief Justice now, his April observation about the Delhi schools. He says schools are run in 10 sheds, and then there are more than 140 children in each class. So that's the state of the affairs of schools. As per the court, I mean, as per the Chief Justice now, then Justice of Delhi, Justice Manmohan. So this is the state of affairs. I mean, Mohalla Clinic, I told you, how can you forget those 3 IAS officers? The 3 IAS aspirant died because of the sewage failure in Delhi. I mean, so Delhi is collapsing. There is not a single road in Delhi which is without a khud, which is clean road or which is proper road. I mean, so what is it that they are giving?
I have to get the final comments from Shama Mohammed first, and then Smita Prakash after that. Ultimately, Shama Mohammed, there's a lot of talk, oh, Congress is doing better this time, Congress is doing better this time. I heard that when the Madhya Pradesh elections happened. I heard, of course, a superlative version of that when Haryana elections happened. Ultimately, the numbers are there on the magic wall. Congress, last election, had 4% vote share, 0 MLAs. Election before that, it had 8% vote share, 0 MLAs. And frankly, I don't see why that would change dramatically in this election.
Zaka, mark my words, it's going to change dramatically because people are fed up of Arvind Kejriwal. Let's understand one thing. You said Sheesh Mahal is not important. Sheesh Mahal is important.
No,
Because
I didn't say it's not important. I said
he said
it's different from the liquor gate issue. I didn't say it's not important.
Yeah. So he said he's an Aam Aadmi and he abused Sheila Dixit for 12 ACs in her house, which is a government house. He's rebuilt his house and he made a Sheesh Mahal. So he cannot keep attacking. He abused her because of scams. Which scam? I don't know where she's been convicted. I mean, he went to jail. She did not. He's on bail right now. So he has to take every word. I remember Nirbhaya. He abused her because of the police issues. What did he do in Delhi riots? He says the police mere paas nahi hai. Police mere. He went in front of Mahatma Gandhi's statue and was standing there as the chief minister of Delhi. Did he stop the riots? Did he even try? No. He was one-sided in the Delhi riots. Everybody knows where he stands. So
Okay.
he's a chameleon. See, let's understand one thing. Congress is an ideology. Other parties have an ideology. What is this man's ideology? Nothing.
Okay.
He's a chameleon.
Final
He can
words,
be
Mr.
out.
Prakash. I have to wrap up. I also think, and people can undervalue this. You know, Mr. Kejriwal has made this election into a referendum. Whether you like him, whether you don't like him, you vote for him, don't vote for him. It's a referendum on his track record and what he believes and what he has put out to the people of Delhi, his wrongful incarceration in the liquor gate scam. Now,
Interesting.
the point is, Smita, that, you know, on the other side, who is the referendum on? Well, what is the other side even offering as a counter to this referendum?
You know, it's interesting, Zaka, that you're ending the debate on the word referendum because he brought it ad nauseum several times when he fought the first election till he had to be told that there is no referendum in the Indian constitution. So stop talking about referendum. This is something that he piped down on. But, you know, certain things I want to point out. One is about the women voter. We haven't talked about that. Core voter base of Aam Aadmi Party. Will they go with they had complete faith in Kejriwal till now. Will they stick with him despite the Sheesh Mahal, despite the whole thing about air and water pollution, the terrible state of roads, water shortage, sewage affairs, housing, healthcare, all these issues, will they still stay with him? That's one thing. Or will they shift? And if they shift, will they shift to the BJP? Because one has seen that in the Maharashtra election and in the Haryana election. The second one, which I want to talk about, is the middle class. The middle class is the most fickle voter in Delhi. Never stood by anybody. The BJP seems to be aiming towards the middle class this time because neither the Congress nor the Aam Aadmi Party are looking at the middle class voter. The middle class voter used to be the BJP voter in Delhi.
Yeah.
But that voter has forgotten. Who remembers Sahib Singh Verma, Madan Lal Khurana, Sushma Swaraj? 27 years is a long time for the middle class voters. So they have forgotten that. Will they return to the BJP after having abandoned them for 27 years? It will be interesting. The third thing is, just to conclude, is about Shama Mohabbat talking about Sheila Dixit. Let me tell you, remind her, I don't know whether she recalls this, but when Sheila Dixit was attacked by the Aam Aadmi Party, nobody in the Congress stood by her. They abandoned her and the lady had to fight her own battle, which she gave up after some time, something that Sandeep Dixit has not forgotten.
Okay, we'll leave it at that. Thank you very much to all our guests. It's going to be a fascinating election. It is a small state, but a prestigious one. It's the capital of the country after all. And like I said, over the last 2 election cycles, the Aam Aadmi Party has dominated. Whether or not that changes, we'll know on the 8th of February.